Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Autumn, and I'm out here trying to be somebody's rich auntie. Reaching rich auntie status for me means being completely debt-free, except for having any strategic business debt that I might take on. Also having $1.5 million in invested assets. I will say, like, my first stop is millionaire, so net worth of $1 million, but my eventual goal is honestly just $1.5 million in invested assets. And that is when I feel like I will have officially reached rich auntie status. So I'm making these videos honestly as an online diary to look back on, because when I reach my goals, and I know that I will, it'll be so cool to look back and see how far I've come, what my net worth is now versus what it'll be in years to come. And I invite you to follow along on my journey to watch me become a millionaire, if we're being honest. I am obsessed with all things money and personal finance. So budgeting, credit, travel, investing, retirement, all of that stuff. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I love talking about it. So go ahead and click that subscribe button if you're interested in following along. Today, we are going to be doing a recap of February spending and then also looking forward to the budget for March. Some quick information about me so that you can understand everything we're talking about in the context of where I am in life. I'm 39 years old. I live in Kentucky, USA. I am a corporate girly, so I'm a technical trainer for a software company. So I've been in the corporate world for 15 years at this point. I am married, no kids, so DINK status over here. We do have a dog, which might as well be a kid. I digress. And I think that's it. So without further ado, let's hop into the budget. So I follow zero-based budgeting, which means that every dollar that comes into our budget has a job. Its job is not always to be spent, but it always has a category that it is assigned to. The way that me and my husband split bills, we don't really split bills. I have done the work of coming up with how much money we need on a monthly basis to sustain our family. It's the same amount of money every month. It takes into account those fluctuating bills and everything like that, but it's the same number that we need to hit every single month. And then when I get paid, I put in my parts. When my husband gets paid, he puts in his parts, all the way till it reaches our family budget, which is $7,750 a month. My husband and I have a yours, mine, and our situation. So he puts in his agreed amount of money. I put in my agreed amount of money. Whatever else we earn outside of that is ours to keep individually. We can spend it on ourselves individually. We can spend it on a nice splurge for the family. When I say the family, I really just mean the two of us and that dog. But it's ours to spend however we would like, as long as we're committed to contributing our parts to the family budget. Each month, I start with $0. We put our money in during the month, and then we pay all of our bills or assign all of our money so that at the end of the month, we have $0 left. I list all of my expenses by the date that they are due, so not any specific category. We just list them out, how much that we expect to put in toward that category or toward that bill each month, how much we actually spent, and if we had any surplus to start or end with. So projected assigned means how much did I expect to assign to this budget category or to this expense for the month. Actual assign is how much did I actually end up having to assign, because sometimes it changes. I might think I need to assign a certain amount of money, but then by the time I actually get the bill, it's a different amount of money, either higher or lower. And then what the difference between that was. So how far off was I when I picked how much to assign? And then, do I have any money in the beginning surplus for that particular category? Each of these categories counts as its own sinking fund or cash envelope, however you want to think about it. But each one is its own mini bank account. And so sometimes I might start the month with some dollars already allocated in that bank account from previous months, and I call that the surplus. So was there any money in the surplus? And then now we move on to spending. So how much did I actually spend from the current amount that I put in? How much did I spend in the surplus? So if I had to use everything that I put in for the month and pull from the surplus, how much came from that surplus? And that equals the total paid. So how much in total did I actually pay? If I put some money in for the month that I didn't use, then that amount gets transferred to the surplus account. And so the amount to transfer lets me know that much. And then the ending surplus balance for the month. So for that particular category, what is the surplus balance for the month? Okay, going through these, the first bill I am fortunate enough, I'm at the point in life where I pick up some bills for some family members. So this first family bill, I projected that it was going to cost $56.99. Got the bill and it actually cost $59.99. So that bill has gone up, which means I was under by $3. So I needed to move $3 around in order to get to that amount. And so I actually paid that $59.99. The next two are transfers to my high yield savings account. So I sent $75 to the emergency fund. I sent $75 to my high yield savings account for play money. So that's where all of my other sinking funds are for travel, home maintenance, everything like that. So I did put in 75, or I projected to put in 75. I actually put in 75 and then I spent, or in this case, transferred that full 75. Same thing for the brokerage account. I have a brokerage account with Fidelity. Every month I transfer $100. So I projected to transfer 100. I actually transferred, or I actually put in 100, and then I did transfer that full 100. Next is HVAC maintenance. So this is a steady bill. It's the same amount every month that I get auto charged. So I projected that I was going to spend 24. I actually assigned 24 and I actually spent 24 exactly. Same thing for Game Pass, $21.19. It's the same every month. Same thing for Disney Plus, $30.89. I put in the exact amount. Netflix is the same. As you can see, we pay for TV in my house. Like, we love all the streaming services. And so that is something that we spend our money on, but I am keeping track of it. You know, a lot of times when people talk about like, get your finances together, how many subscriptions do you have that you don't even know about? And I was like, I have 0 subscriptions that I don't know about. I have about 10 or 12 or 15 subscriptions, all for TV, but I know about all of them. And whenever the price changes, I immediately know about it. So we have Netflix, we have my husband's car payment. We're going to be finished with that in September of this year. I'm very excited about that, but it's the same amount every month, $384.90. Okay, so a couple things to note about trash. I projected that I was going to put in $85. I actually assigned or put in $85. And then if we look at my beginning surplus, I already have a beginning surplus of $85 because I brought that over from January, but I actually spent $0. So trash isn't due till March. So even though I put in that $85, I spent 0, meaning that the amount to transfer to my surplus account for trash is $85. And then my total surplus balance is now $170. So I kind of use my surplus as a little accumulation fund of just stashing money there every month until I need to spend it. It's a classic sinking fund. I have an outstanding business loan. I projected to assign $100. I actually assigned $100 to that category, and then I paid the $100. Sling, it's the same amount every month, even though I think this went up a couple months ago, but now it's the $90.63. That's the exact same. Annual TV streaming. So again, I only have the ones listed on here that we pay monthly, but we pay Paramount Plus, we pay Apple, we pay Amazon Prime. There's another one. Peacock, there it is. We pay those on a yearly basis. So I am always saving up money in my annual streaming sinking fund or category. And so I put in $55 this month. I projected that I was going to add $55. I did. My beginning surplus is $431. So a lot of these come out in June. So that's why I have so much, because on June, I'm going to spend pretty much all of this. But if we look, I actually did spend some money this month because Amazon Prime renewed in February, and that was $146. So I used all of the $55 that I put in for this month, and then I actually dipped into surplus for $91.51 to spend that $146.51. And so now my surplus balance is $340. So I'm just going to keep adding to that $340 until any of my other streaming bills come out. Life insurance is the same, $149.37. Cell phone is the same, $207.61. I think there are 4 phones on this plan, and we're paying for 2 or 3 of those phones. Internet, it went up again. So I thought I was going to put in $113.69 because that's normally what it is. This month it was $117.73. So I was $4.04 short. So that's the amount I actually had to assign. And then I paid that bill for $117. Home security, $33.91. That's the same. Car insurance, $259.04 was the same. Credit monitoring is the same. We have a tax bill that we are currently working on. So I put in $40 and I spent that $40. Student loan, we are not putting any money toward that right now because everything is in administrative forbearance. So we're just kind of waiting to see how that shakes out. Now, the good news is no interest is being charged. So like my amount is not going up. I keep an eye on that every month. And so if that amount were starting to go up, as in there was interest being charged, I would definitely be paying on it. But for right now, it's literally been sitting at the same amount for over a year. So for the electric and gas bill, I always put in $250 every month. And this is a nice average. In the winter, it's higher than that. In the summer, it's way lower. So I can start to build up a surplus. And I already have $390 in my surplus account that I've just rolled over from previous months. This month, the bill came out to $287.06. So it was over $250 again. This is the second time ever, only the second time ever. And I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years. This is only the second time ever that it's actually been over $250. The first time being last month. So we've been having some crazy weather here in Kentucky. So I had to use all of the $250 that I assigned for this month. And then I had to dip into that surplus, $37. So now my surplus is down to $353.82. Now, I mean, that's still a lot of money, but I mean, I've never had to dip into surplus before. So that's crazy. The water bill, I always put aside, or I always project that I'm going to put $125 into the water bill, but I actually always lower that to be whatever the water bill actually is, because I already have a surplus of $136 and I don't need to add any more to that water bill surplus. So if I set aside $125, but I get the water bill and it's only $100, which it was $100.45, I actually lower the amount that I actually assigned to be exactly that $100.45. So I actually got to take out $24.55 from water, because I already have surplus for that. My home equity line of credit, this is where all of our money is going right now. I am beating down that home equity line of credit. So every month we put $2,800 on our home equity line of credit. I have plenty of other videos on this channel about my debt payoff journey. And so, definitely feel free to watch those to see my progress on paying off all of my debt. But namely, the home equity line of credit is what we are focusing on right now. So $2,800 a month, that's how much I project to put on there. That's how much we actually did spend on the home equity line of credit. Our mortgage, $907. So this is, of course, taxes. It is principal, interest, taxes, insurance, comes up to $907. And I did spend the exact $907. And notice here, I have mortgage at the bottom because this goes in order of date due. Typically, mortgages are due on the first of the month. So I don't like to pay any of my bills on the day that they're due. I like to pay them earlier than that. And so the mortgage included. So I actually include the mortgage as the last bill due from the previous month. So this is due technically on the last day of February. This is March's mortgage payment. So that's why it's at the very bottom. I always consider my mortgage to be the last bill of the month instead of the first bill of the current month. I have another family bill. It is a quarterly bill. So once again, I just put aside $45 a month. In this case, I put aside $45. I already started with $45. I spent $0 of those dollars. So I'm transferring $45 to the surplus, and that's going to give me a total of $90 for that particular bill when it's time to pay it. Same thing with lawn care. So lawn care, it's March right now. Lawn care will probably be starting up in April or May, but I'm putting money aside now so that it doesn't hit us like a ton of bricks when it actually starts to pick up, when we actually have to pay for lawn care. So I put in $200. I spend $0. Oh, and I already had $200 in my surplus account. I spent $0. So now I'm going to add the $200 from this month to my surplus, and I'll be left with $400. So now I have $400 in my surplus balance for lawn care. All right, so lifestyle expenses. Notice on here, I don't have any other categories for like groceries or gas or anything like that. I found I don't really need to keep track or set a goal for how much to spend on those specific categories. Even though I do keep track of how much it is, it's not budgeted. What I do is just lump all of that together in a category that I call lifestyle expenses. And this really just counts as a catch-all for all the extra money that I tinker with in my budget. So if I have to assign more money to a bill than I originally thought, I'll borrow from lifestyle expenses. So I'll lower my lifestyle to give extra money to that bill. Or in terms of my water bill, if I actually end up paying less than I thought I was going to pay, then I give myself more lifestyle money for that month. So for this month, between me and my husband, usually I like to keep lifestyle around $1,500, but it was $1,479 is how much I thought I was going to put in. But I actually was able to shift some numbers around during the month, and I gave myself $1,496. So that was $17 more than expected. But if you look at how much we spent $1,535 this past month. So, we did a couple fun things, and this is really close to $1,500. So I'm not really upset about that. And if you notice, we had $150 in our surplus account for lifestyle. We underspent last month. So now we overspent this month, but we can borrow some of that money. We can borrow 38 of those dollars that we overspent from our surplus. And I don't want to say borrow. We can draw some of that money because it's money we already had set aside. So now our surplus account for lifestyle is down to $111.64. But all that being said, I expected to put in $77.50. We actually put in $77.50, and then we actually spent $74.20, and that's a difference of $330 that we had left over for the month. But alas, we didn't, because that's what we're transferring to our surplus account, and that leaves our bill account at $0 or our spending account at $0. And that's how zero-based budgeting works. We put in an amount of money, we spend or assign all of that money, and I move it out of our account so that at the end of the month, it is $0 ready for our paychecks for the new month to come in. So everything looks the way that I expected it to. If we come down here, just focusing on where did our lifestyle money go? Because even though I don't necessarily budget for it, I do keep track of it. I keep very, very detailed records of our money. Okay, so this is where our money went. The majority of it, of course, went to groceries, and I combined them. Last month, I kept them separate, but this month I'm going to combine them. So we spent $703 on groceries, and groceries came from Meijer, Costco. We went to Big Lots because they were having a going out of business sale. Oh, it was amazing. And then we spent $126 on restaurants and takeout. That's a little high for us. We normally don't go out to eat at all. So these definitely felt like little treats. So Jeff's Donuts, oh my gosh, is a donut place around town that we absolutely love. And that was a treat. Culver's fast food, and then Fiesta Mexicana. We did another happy hour date night. That might be something that we do on a monthly basis because it's really fun. And that was $60 flat. So it's always $60 flat. We get, 3 drinks, 3 margaritas, and then like a burrito, a couple of entrees and stuff. And $60 flat is a great deal. Okay, and then we had kitchen, bath, and cleaning supplies. I spent $87. And so most of that stuff like paper towels, toilet paper, we get that from Costco. But again, we spent some money at Big Lots because they was having that closing sale. And then finally gas. And we get our gas from Costco again and Thornton's. And so of the $1,535 that we spent on lifestyle expenses, $1,100 of it came just from those categories right there. So we really spend our money on food, house stuff, and gas, honestly. And then this section down here is for any major outside of the budget purchases that I make. So like I said, $77.50 is our budgeted family money, but we also have money outside of our budget that sometimes gets spent. And if it's anything major, I will drop it here. But alas, we didn't do anything in February, so there is nothing to put there. Okay, and that's it. I stuck to the budget. Everything looks good. And if we look forward to March, the main thing to note with March is that I did get a notice from car insurance that it is going up. So from 259.04 to 274.82, I went ahead and updated the budget so that, because I know that's how much is going to be auto charged in March. And then I took that money from lifestyle expenses, because again, it always has to add up to $77.50. So I can pull any levers that I need to within my budget as long as it adds up to $77.50. And so I pulled from lifestyle, and as of right now, we only have $14.50 in the budget for March, which, you know, last month we spent 15 something. So I'm trying to not spend a lot in March coming up. But like, if we're being honest, March is our wedding anniversary. And like, maybe we want to do something special and fancy. I don't know. But regardless, we have $1,400 to start out with, but then we do have that $111 from surplus. So maybe, but you know, who knows? Maybe we'll cut back on something else so that we can spend on March. Oh my God, I totally skipped over hair appointments. I was like, wait a minute, I know I spent money on hair appointments. So beauty, yes, like $120 was spent on hair appointments. That is in our top 5. I just literally skipped over that. That's crazy. But yes, so groceries, restaurants, hair appointments. Now that is not going down. Okay. And then cleaning supplies, and then gas. I can't believe I forgot that. But I mean, maybe we'll cut back on some of those other parts so that we can not go over or have to draw from surplus for March. But we'll see. That's the point of having a budget and watching your spending is, you know, it informs your actions, but at the same time, as long as I'm keeping track of it, that's all that matters. Thank you for joining me today. Comment down below. Did you stick to your February budget? Do you break out all your budget categories for food and groceries and stuff like that? Does that help? I'm always interested to learn how people manage their money and what works for them. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. It really helps the channel. I appreciate it. And until next time.